oh, 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 oh. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brother Boonaa Mohammed with another episode of Boonaafide. Now, for all those people who are watching this video who are under the age of 25, I just want to tell you guys that this whole thing, this YouTube and Facebook and social media world and Snapchat and the gram and Twitter and 140 characters, this world you live in is not real. I remember a time when socially interacting with people meant actually interacting with people and like doing things physically. Now it feels like everybody is just socially awkward, and when you're even with someone, all they do is go on their phone and they would rather text you than just talk with you. Now, I don't want to sound like some grandfather like, oh, in my day, kids used to talk. But I also feel like a part of my frustration is the fact that we have lost that personal interaction, that people have become so distant, even though technology supposedly has brought us closer together. And I love social media. I mean, I use social media every single day, and it's actually given me opportunities to share my message, to go out there and speak to people and perform my poetry, and given me avenues that I probably wouldn't have had without it. But at the same time, I try not to be dependent on it. And because I also grew up at a time when internet was just kind of emerging, I kind of remember what life was like without it. I guess the classic example is of people who live this bigger than life persona online, and then you find out that they're actually very quiet, reserved people, maybe introverts who are using social media in order to better interact with society, which I can see is definitely a positive, but at the same time, it can also be detrimental to someone's social growth when that's the only thing they know. Because for all the really cool, fascinating tweets you post about exotic vacations and food and adventures you've taken into this new part of the world, or outings with your friends, for all those really cool, exciting moments that we share online, there are thousands and millions more not very interesting moments of you sitting on the toilet, Facebook's creeping everyone on your list. And I guess that's really kind of my biggest beef with social media, is that it's really just very fake. And it's given us an opportunity to become even more fake than we would have become otherwise. Because I don't share with you the boring, mundane parts of my everyday life, and you don't share those with me either. So when I compare my boring real life to your really fascinating glammed up social media life, and you compare your boring life to my glammed up social media life, then everybody feels like crap at the end of the day. But one cool thing that social media has done, especially for me, is that it's really connected me to so much more knowledge and so much more movements and ideas and thoughts that are out there in the world that I possibly wouldn't have had access to otherwise. Whereas back in the day, you had to actually watch the news to tune in and find out everything that was happening. And of course, even the news comes with its own set of biases. Now I can just go onto social media, check my timeline, see what people are tweeting about or see what people are posting about, and find out about the news that is relevant to me. But at the same time, my timeline can also be very deceptive, because if the only news stories I'm ever reading about are coming from people who are in my immediate social circles, it means that I'm not really ever getting anything outside of that framework. Now, this is fine and dandy for someone like me who's amazing, but imagine if you're some like racist Islamophobe and the only news stories you hear about are the ones that your friends are sharing who are also racist Islamophobes, and that becomes the world you live in. You become immersed in one particular way of thinking because the only information you're getting is coming from a very narrow point of view. And what exactly do we do when we receive all this information? I mean, if somebody presents a news article, or if somebody presents a particular thought or idea or a fatwa, an Islamic ruling or a verdict, how do I actually receive this information? It's one thing for me to just take it at face value, but it's another thing for me to actually go out there and authenticate it to make sure that it meets the criteria of something that I would take as being reputable. The point I'm getting at is that even though social media can be a great tool, there are certain checks and balances we need to put into place to ensure that we're using this technology for our complete benefit. This means becoming intelligent about the information you receive and understanding how to properly digest news, how to properly digest, for example, even Islamic articles and scholarly rulings, so that you can better understand the scope and the context by which they are presented to you. This means also realizing that everyone's personas and everyone's bigger than life attitudes on social social media doesn't necessarily reflect reality. And lastly, don't forget there are some things that social media and digital interaction can never replace, including time well spent with family and friends. So go out there, smell some roses, go for a walk, enjoy nature, and admire the beautiful creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Hopefully you'll benefit, inshallah. Share, subscribe, like, and whatever other things you social media freaks out there gotta do to make this video popular. But I want people to hear this message, so make sure you stay tuned next time for Boonaafide here on DOPStv. Jazakallah khair for watching. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Hold a second.
So there ultimately needs to be a balance. There needs to be a proper understanding of how to interact with the opposite gender in a way